What if I told you I have the secret sauce to elevate your practice? What if I told you that the doctor-optician relationship is unmatched? What if I told you that that relationship, if you master it, if you nourish it, it can really take your practice to the next level, but most importantly, help your patients have everything that they need when it comes to vision? On today's podcast, I have the one and only, the great, the vibrant Sophia Pray. Let's go. This is a Defocus Media production. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Daryl Glover. Today, I'm very excited to have Sophia Pray because Sophia Pray understands it. She gets it. She is a master at the doctor-patient journey, but she really has a lot of interest when it comes to that doctor-optician handoff. And on today's show, we're going to talk about how we can elevate that patient journey with main focus on that collaboration between the two. So friends and family, it's a pleasure and honor to welcome Sophia today on today's show. How are you doing today, my friend?
Hey, good morning. I'm doing great. It's a great morning.
I know, it's great. We're alive, so it's a great day, right?
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm super excited to have you on the show today. You know, you and I, we caught up earlier this year at Transitions Academy, and I had the opportunity to just sit down by you for a couple of hours. And, you know, we had some good drinks, and we had great conversation, and it led to you being on this podcast. And the one thing that I really admire and I love about you is how committed you are to making sure that patients get exactly what they need to elevate their lifestyles. So that's why I wanted to bring you on the show, because I feel that as optometrists, as opticians, as eye care professionals, we have to work together, but most importantly, we have to understand how each of us think and how each of us move. That way we can make that patient journey seamless. Now, before we dive too deep into this amazing podcast that's in front of us, I would love for you to maybe give an overview of who you are and also share, how did you get into this amazing profession of eye care, if you don't mind, my friend?
Yeah, so I got in it by chance. It was about 9 years ago. I had moved to Seattle and I had decided that I wanted change. And I was in the veterinary industry for about 6 years and I was just looking for change. We had sold our house and I just wanted a job where I could be my true self. I could help people. And somehow I saw a job ad that was looking for an optician assistant, and I decided to apply. I had no, aside from just wearing glasses myself almost my whole life, I really had no experience. And when I got the job, they told me that I actually went up against a licensed optician, and they ended up wanting to give me the chance just because I had different experience in, veterinary, in sales, and they just liked my personality, and they thought I would be a good match to help people find glasses. And so that's what started my journey. And then once I got in, it was kind of like I found my calling, and I found out that I was meant for optical. And since then, it's just been like I never looked back. I knew that this is where I was meant to be. I was going to be in the optical profession. And as I've grown and learned and in all these years, it's just really made that like dream possible. And it's just been crazy what has happened since that when I first started to now. It's just been insane. And just being in like this like a small tiny office, one doctor, and using social media to like meet other people with common interest in the optical industry, working with transitions, which that's just another crazy thing that happened, and just believing in myself and just trying and putting myself out there. It's been a crazy ride, and I'm just so excited to see what will happen in the future. But yeah, that's just what got me in, and I've just been hooked ever since. And so it's just been really amazing being a part of the optical industry.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful that you are part of this industry because you bring a different dynamic. I number one, I love your energy. I love your style. I love how vibrant you are with just your personality, with your eyewear, with your clothing. You bring eye care up, right? Because sometimes eye care can be a little boring. And I feel like we need to represent it. We need to show up. We need to dress up to play the role of what our patients are looking for. No one wants to go into an office and buy glasses from someone that doesn't reflect what they're trying to sell. So why not look the part, right? So I'm super excited to dive into this conversation with you today. And what I really want to do is just really bust down how can we be better doctors and work with our opticians and make that patient journey seamless, but make it memorable and make sure that our patients have the right pair of glasses. So I'd love to just take notes here and learn from you. I want to know, how can I be a better doctor and be a better, do a better transfer to my eyewear consultant or to my optician whenever a patient comes in. So let's just kind of take it from the top, if you don't mind. Where do you,
Yeah, no.
what do you do? Like, please, I'm taking notes. Make me better.
Yeah, so it really starts from the, from the check-in, from the first interaction. If the people up front, now if it could be the optician, it could be the front desk person, whoever that person is, they start taking notes, because sometimes you get those clues. You see them walk in, they're squinting. You see them come in, they're holding their head. You see them come in and they're holding their broken glasses, or whatever the case is, their lenses are all scratched or whatever. And so it starts from there, and whoever it is, if it's the technician, if it's the optician, if it's the front desk, we you should be so comfortable with your staff that they could tell you, the doctor, "Hey, so I noticed that when they came in, they were squinting." You don't have to have them take a quiz or anything. That tells you something. Either one, they don't have sunglasses, but two, they might have light sensitivity, or there's a reason for that, or you notice that they're holding their head or anything like that, the body language, the conversation, you take note. And so at my office, we have, little notepad or check-in sheet, and we take notes. And so we say, yeah, this is just a heads up. So when you're doing your exam, I noticed this. So there should be open communication between the technician, optician, front desk, whoever it is, that they should feel comfortable if they notice something, or if the patient asks about something. Hey, I heard about transitions. Okay, no problem. Because you might not have a chance then to talk about it, but you just want it to be a seamless, like, let's get them in, let's get them going. The doctor can possibly talk about it. That goes to another point where doctors should also know about the lenses on the market. They should know. I know that, they're doing the exam. They're there to be, it could be a medical eye exam, it could be just their annual comprehensive exam. But it's so important for all doctors to know what the new technology that's out. And so if they come in asking about it and we're like, hey, they want to know about whatever, if it's transitions, if it's the, newest progressive lens, they saw a commercial about it. Because now we're seeing commercials. We're seeing they want to know about Ray-Ban Meta. They saw this cool commercial. So it's important for not only the front desk, the opticians, the technicians to know about it, but it's important for the doctor to know too. So we can take notes. If they bring it up, we let the doctor know, hey, they just happened to mention whatever. And so then once the doctor's doing their exam, the doctor can also bring it up if they notice something. Oh yeah, that eye fatigue. Oh, that lens you happen to bring up. I would definitely recommend that for you. Or maybe that lens that you brought up, I might not recommend it for you. Maybe there's something else better that we can get for you. And so it's just taking notes, listening to the patient, just seeing, like, watching their body language, and then taking that and giving it to the doctor. Then once the doctor has them, they do their exam. And then once it's time, when they come back around and it's now time for the handoff, and that handoff could be what they recommend. So the doctor can just openly say, hey, so we were talking in the room. They're 42 years old, and we were talking about that it's time for their first time progressive, or it's time for their computer glasses, or, and so they just have to verbally say it, like, out loud sometimes. during that handoff. I found that if the doctor just puts it on the prescription, like recommends whatever on the prescription, sometimes it gets lost in translation. But when the doctor actually verbally during the handoff, okay, patient, this is what I talked about. A lot of times, even though the doctor is not an optician per se, some doctors are, but a lot of times they're not really doing that part of it because they have to go see the next patient. They're like, okay, bye, run off to the next one. So a lot of times when they actually verbally say it, because it doesn't matter how many times they say it in the exam room, when they say it where other people can hear it, then the patient gets it in their head. It's important. I should probably get that progressive. I should probably get those sunglasses. I should probably get, blue blocking anti-reflective coating or like whatever it is that the conversation leads. And then that's where we can be like, oh, okay. So, oh, you need progressives? Well, here, let me show you the glasses because you can't just get progressives without glasses. So then that's where it makes it a little easier for our opticians to do our job because it doesn't matter. Like I can look at a prescription and I know how to read it and I can say,
Right.
oh, yeah, okay, you're 42. Instead of doing that Eisen or that anti-fatigue, you know what, forget it. Let's just go, let's do the whole thing. Let's
Right.
just do the progressive. And so it just makes it easier because when you're taking someone from, let's say they're in their 40s, from a single vision, which they may have spent $200-300 on their glasses before, to now spending $600 or more, that's a huge investment and that's a huge difference in price. But when a doctor who they feel is like an authority, they're a doctor.
Right.
Um, when that person's like, okay, they start taking it a little bit more seriously. So it helps that relationship because now I can recommend what they need.
Right.
And then they understand the value of the investment that they're putting an investment in their self and it just makes it easier. And then obviously at the end of the day, when it comes to, an office succeeding, it's really a team effort. And when we can actually work as a team, then we can benefit from it, whether it's, getting bonuses or, now the staff makes more an hour or now we can go to that vision expo as a team,
Yeah.
and do those extra things that maybe we couldn't do if we, if our, if because obviously it's all money, so it's like if we all are lifting each other up, then it's like, okay, we can finally do that cool thing, or we can, invest in better frames. We can now get more, or we can, finally, fix that, the dispensing area and make it look nicer, or, all those things. So it just all like trickles down when we can actually help each other out, recommend what the patient actually needs instead of just giving them the bare minimum,
Wow.
and having them, just get by versus having them have like the best visual experience they can have.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to unpack here, right? I mean, you hit the entire patient journey from when the patient walks into the door all the way up until they, get their glasses and leave the office, right? But there was a few things that I really wanted to emphasize, and number one is that team player approach, that teamwork makes the dream work approach, right? I think it's important for everyone in the office to be on the same page. And at the beginning of the conversation, the first thing that you mentioned was the doctor, being able to have communication with the doctor. I know as optometrists, sometimes we beat our chest. Oh, I went to optometry school. I'm the best thing out. I can do whatever I want. But I'm telling all my colleagues out there, if you actually develop a relationship with your front desk, your technician, your eyewear consultant, your optician, your manager, it will elevate that practice tremendously. And it will build that trust with your team, and they will make sure that they treat that practice just like it's theirs, right? Like their own. And you kind of alluded to that when you were talking about in order for us to be able to go to a conference together, and in order for us to be able to get more frames or to be able to change something in the office, we as a team have to do well to make sure that we hit our bottom line goal to be able to elevate the practice as well. So I love that teamwork approach. The other thing that you touched on that I thought was huge was taking notes. We have to take notes, but we have to be intentional with our notes. We have to be intentional with how we view patients when they walk into the practice. I love how you mentioned that you may see a patient squint and automatically you thought, okay, medical condition, what can I do to prescribe something or give something to that patient to help alleviate that? And the first thing you mentioned were sunglasses or some type of photochromic lenses, right? So, taking notes, not just on the paper, but also mental notes and being able to communicate with the next person that patient's going to see and be able to have that conversation. So by the time they get to the doctor, all that is cooked up. I love that you touched on taking notes. Of course, put it in the EHR system, EMR system, and be able to have it documented. That way that flow is nice and seamless and it gets to the doctor and to the eyewear consultant or optician. But it's very important to make sure that you take those mental notes. And then the other thing that I love that you touch on is the knowledge. It is important for everyone, not just the optician, not just the eyewear consultant, but everyone in the practice, from the front desk to the technician, to have knowledge of every product, every service that is sold in that practice. Because when you have that, that just changes the dynamic. And then to your point earlier, it makes that patient journey seamless because everyone's on the same page. So I understand why you have the secret sauce to elevate a practice and take it to the next level. Now, I'm curious, what are some things that an optometrist should never say whenever they're doing that transfer to an optician? Because I know there are some things, and I've been told my team, we're a family, right? They can tell me what they feel. I can tell them what I feel. And there have been times where I've said something, they're like, nah, don't say that again. That was not great for the patient experience, or that wasn't great for me trying to, give them what you prescribe. But I'm curious to know, as optometrists, what should we not say? What are we doing that may hurt that transfer to the optician?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. So one of my pet peeves actually is their prescription didn't change. They don't need new glasses. Well, okay,
Ah,
wait. It's like, well, okay, they might not need no everyday glasses, but they might need sunglasses. They might need a second, extra pair. At least let us talk to them.
mm,
They might have HSA money that they wanted to spend, but now the doctor told them, no, 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 they are good to go. Let them pay their $10 copay. Goodbye. And I'm like, wait. Let me at least ask. You know,
yeah,
who says that someone can't get glasses every year?
right.
And so that's one of my things when doctors say that, that's like, oh wait, they're already out the door, they have their keys out, and I'm like, wait, put your keys back down, wait, we're not done yet. So that's one thing that's like immediate, like, goodbye, we don't even have a chance, like and I've had doctors do that, and then while I'm checking them out, because then I'll be like, no, 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 let me do it. And so I step in and I'll say, "Oh, and so did you want to look at glasses today? I know you didn't. I know your prescription didn't change, but to get a spare pair or, change your style or get some sunglasses." And then about 50% of the time they'll say, "Well, yeah, I guess I could look." And it's just like, "Okay, yeah, well, before I get your copay, let's go do that. And then if we find something, great. If we're not, that's okay." you know but so that's one thing when the doctor just says, well, nothing changed, they don't need new glasses. It's like, oh, why'd you say that? And you could, and it's fine for it not changing. Like, my prescription really hasn't changed in 20 years, but do I get glasses? Of course. But it's like, just
Absolutely.
give people a chance. And especially if they have insurance, usually it's every year, so it's like, let them use their insurance if they want.
Right.
The second thing that I've seen doctors do is they recommend, like, something so specific. And I'm like, okay, you didn't know that they're with their prescription, I can't actually get that combination of things. And now
Ah,
they want it, they need it. And I'm like, oh, I can't actually do that. That's not actually
interesting.
available. And so when the doctor's like, they need Verilux, whatever, with this and this and this, and I'm like, wait, it doesn't come in that. That combination doesn't come. And then the patient will get, like, upset, like, well, the doctor said. I'm like, okay, well, this is similar, but I can't. that color doesn't come with this, and so I can't do that. And the doctor just didn't realize,
Yeah.
and so then that puts us in a weird position because then they think, oh, well, these
Sophia,
people
I want
don't
to
know what
want to
they're
spend a
doing.
little time on that because that proves what you stated earlier, right?
Yeah.
If the doctor prescribes something, then that authority coming from the doctor, they're going to go with it, right? So
Yeah.
that proves the case of what you stated earlier. But I would like for you to spend a little more time on us not being as specific, right? So when I come out and I do that transfer, I should be more vague. Should I just use the word multifocal, progressive,
Yeah.
anti-reflective coating? That way
Yeah.
they're able to land where it makes sense in regards to what their insurance benefit may be or where the parameters may land.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
being just saying, okay, so I recommend a progressive. I mean, you could say a brand, especially if your office uses like only one brand, so
sure.
like we only use Verilux or Shamir or whatever that brand might be. That the brand is okay, but when you're using like I recommend Verilux XR, and then it's just like, oh no, but the combination of what they want doesn't come in the
Right.
color that, that you told them that it came in, or, and so it's best to keep it just very vague. So
Okay.
it's just like I recommend a bifocal or progressive. I recommend an anti-fatigue lens. I recommend anti-reflective coating with UV protection. I recommend photochromic lenses, or if your office does like a very specific one, then you could say the brand, and that's okay usually. Um, but yeah, I recommend polarized lenses versus like a brand of polarized lens that may or may not come in that combination that they may require.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just keeping it, you could say progressive, you could say those words, but if you use a specific brand, I definitely had it where now I'm having a fight with the patient, and it's like, okay, now the whole
Right.
experience it went from here to here, and now they don't trust me, and now they
Right.
only want the doctor, but now the doctor's with another patient, and now I'm
Yeah.
like, oh great,
It's
like,
just a, it's just a
no.
hot ass mess, right?
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, well, they didn't mean that. They said Crizal, Sapphire HR, but for you, I recommend Rock, because you're
Yeah.
hard on your glasses or, whatever. And they're like, no, the doctor said this. And I'm
But
like, oh
but I think
no.
also, Sophia, I think that's an opportunity for optometrists to be better versed in what they actually carry, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier also when we were talking about the knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I think it's great to go to conferences with your team and sit down and all get the knowledge of what
Yes.
lenses are and know the parameters as well, or even have some of these companies come into your practice and sit down as a team and also learn also. I think it's important for doctors and optometrists, and I'm not the best at this, but I try to show up to our meetings when we have them in my practice to be a part of those conversations because there are outside parties coming in educating our team members on the latest and greatest technology when it comes to lens technology or frame technology. And as an optometrist, how can I prescribe something if I don't even know what the hell it is? So
Right.
it's
No,
important
it's
for us to all be on
huge.
the same page. So I
Yeah.
I, I love that opportunity that's there. But most importantly, I never thought about it the way that you stated in regards to being accurate, but also vague at the same time. That way they still continue to have the trust in you as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the last thing, I had one doctor, he likes certain frame brands. And so he would come out and be like, this person needs pro design or this person needs, and I was like, wait, 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 wait. This person cannot wear whatever brand, Ray-Ban or whatever. And I'm like, oh no, and
Yeah.
so like just trying to stay away from like very specific brands unless you know the parameters, unless you know for a fact, because there's some of these brands that like they only make like certain sunglass brands, I'll say, that like you can only get a certain prescription from here to here and then that's it. And
Mm,
if they're outside of that, then we can't do it. And
right.
it just can't be done. And so now they're sad that they couldn't get their, whatever branded, sunglasses. And so just trying to stay like you could say, I recommend that they wear nose pads because in the exam room they had plastic frames. They kept complaining that the placement of their progressive kept moving. So I
Yeah.
recommend nose pads. So that stuff like that is okay. Or I recommend a longer temple because I noticed that it was too short or anything
Yeah.
like that. Those kinds of
So keeping
things
it
are
basic.
great. keeping it basic so then we can say, okay, this is what I have, like whatever the brands are. I'm going to try to find something with what we have and make it like wonderful, great. And then the patient leaves happy. The doctor gave the recommendation because maybe the patient didn't feel comfortable telling me that the frame they got last year kept moving around because, and so then the doctor noticed and they said, nose pads are really what you need. And that's
Right.
one of those things where some patients, you'll see them, they'll have like no bridge and they just refuse to wear nose pads, and you're just like, okay, well, you're going to continue having those problems like
Right.
forever. And if
Right.
you're okay with that, that's fine. But like, if you not like to deal with that, we can just give you something with nose pads or even adapt a frame. We'll add nose pads, that's okay too.
That's
That's a
fancy.
possibility. And so those are things that like, if we have that relationship where it's nice and comfortable, where the doctor can be, and it doesn't feel like the doctor's telling you how to do your job. They're just saying, so we were having a great conversation in the exam room, and I told them that they might benefit from having nose pads.
Oh, I
And
like
so
that
it
word
and
benefit.
it
That is
and it
huge.
doesn't feel like the doctor's like, they need X brand and that's
Yeah.
final. And you're just like,
Yeah.
okay,
I
well,
like
we
that.
only have four of frames in that brand and none of them have nose pads. So thank you for making my job really hard because now they only want that brand. And
So what I'm hearing is less is more essentially, and
yeah,
we got to
less
take
is
that
more.
mindset. Okay.
And and it's just because no one likes to be like micromanaged or like, like, okay, so this is what they need and you're basically doing their job. Like you don't
Right.
want that.
No.
And also a doctor, if they're doing the hiring or if they're, an owner, you want staff that knows what they're doing. So you should be able to say progressive and then that that staff member, the optician, is knows what you mean. They know you mean a premium progressive or the best that you can get for the patient within their budget.
Right.
Like it's already like an unspoken word that we're going to give them the best that they can get, that's within their budget. If we can do the best, great. If we can only do what they can get right now, that's okay too. Like, and so that's where when you do that, you meet with the lab rep and and everyone's a part of the meeting, then it's just like, okay, these are the products that us as an office, we know are good. We know that they work for most people. We know that, that this is still going to work, even though it's a budget, like, and so when everyone's on the same page, then it just makes it easier. So you know that like when you're given that handoff, that they're in good hands, that they're
Love
actually
it.
in good hands, and vice versa. So you know that like, no, my doctor, they're good. They're going to give you a good prescription. I know you had bad experiences at all the million offices that you went to, but my doctor, they're going to do the best they can.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that whatever they give you, I'm going to trust,
And I think you bring up something that's great there. Having confidence in your doctor,
Yeah,
right? Because when you show that confidence, then that patient feels even more inclined to go with whatever that doctor recommended or prescribed. And
yep,
it's the same thing on the opposite side. The doctor
yeah,
needs to have confidence in their opticians and their eyewear consultants to make sure that they feel good with what they're doing out there on the floor because it's all about teamwork at the
exactly.
end of the day. Now, I want to spend 30 seconds to a minute on one topic because I always go back and forth with people in regards to this way of phrasing things whenever we do the handoff. You mentioned recommend. I like to use the term prescribe. I've seen both successful in practices. What are your thoughts in regards to saying Dr. Glover prescribed this solution versus Dr. Glover recommended this solution? Have you used both of those words and what kind of results have you seen between the two?
I actually love the word prescribed. I personally haven't seen that used in a handoff. I actually had a conversation with the doctor I was working with, and I told them that if they put it on the prescription, so if they prescribed it, because they used to not put it on the actual prescription, they would just verbally tell the patient. And I
Okay.
was like, no, but if you actually put it written, it's on the prescription, like
Yeah.
printed on the prescription. I was like, that's going to tell them that that's what they need.
Yes.
And so we started putting progressive transitions, polycarbonate lenses, anti-reflective coating, like, or whatever it was. And so once we started doing that and they would go either to us or to anywhere else, they knew that that's what the doctor really wanted. And so I love the word prescribed, because it makes it feel like it's necessary,
Yeah.
because that's what it really is, necessary whether the patient does it or not. And I wish that that's a term that we would have used, but we kind of did it the other way, where we put it on the paper so the patient had it, like, okay,
Yeah.
so this is what the doctor is. But yeah, using the different wording, I think prescribed is actually a little better than recommended. I mean, either way is like it gets the point
Yeah,
across, but
I've heard it both ways, right? And
yeah.
some doctors don't feel as comfortable saying prescribe when they do that handoff, and some feel more comfortable recommending. And I can see where, to your point earlier, if I come out and I say I'm prescribing XYZ and I'm very specific, then the patient will be upset, to your point earlier, if that's not even a parameter that's available. But if I say I recommend, then that gives you some open opportunity to dive into a different lens. So it's like it's different scenarios where either one
Yeah.
can really work, right?
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
think it's important to make sure that everyone in the office is on the same page, to your point earlier. Now, something that I want to spend a little time on is, I know, you're an optician and you've been in different work settings. I would love for you to maybe share your experience with, the different work settings that you have been in, because I have come across a lot of opticians and a lot of optometrists, and some of us think it's better in one area versus the other. But my whole thing is, we're here to serve patients. What can I do to make sure that patient has what they need? But I'm curious to hear from an optician standpoint, what are your thoughts in regards to different modalities, and what advice do you have to an optician that's just coming out of school trying to figure out which direction they want to go?
So, since I recently have been going on this job search, I have found that, there's different opportunities. So there's private practice, there's the big box stores, there's the kind of the in between. Um, and to your point, the main focus are the patients. So wherever you choose to go, there's been this like kind of negative outlook for anyone that chooses to work for any big corporation. We all know their names. We know the big names that are in the industry. There's a couple that kind of rule it all, and that, and so people think, oh, they're bad. It's bad to work for any group, any kind of big group. And I found, now that I've been in private practice and now I'm working for one of those big companies, that the patient care is the same,
Yeah,
maybe the options of frames I have are different. Maybe my job responsibilities are slightly different. But the biggest thing that I found coming from like a private practice versus going to like now a big corporation is that the focus on the patients is the same. We're offering actually the same great products. So it's not like I'm offering off brand something unknown, whatever. No, I'm still offering the same name branded products. Um, and now I have the opportunity to give that private practice experience in a big box setting where sometimes they've never had that. And
yeah,
so now my patients, I've been at this office now for 3 weeks. They're having a complete different experience and they're loving it. And I've actually done like better sales than I've done in a long time. And it's
nice.
just being open to offering people what's in their budget, which is interesting because it's just like, okay, well, if this is all what you can get, we're going to get it to you instead of having them walk. Because sometimes in a private practice, you're like, oh, well, if they don't want the best, sorry,
Yeah,
goodbye. And it's like, well, no, they still need glasses. They still need to see. They still have right to get the best they can. And if I have the knowledge to offer them the best they can get, whether it is the best or if it's just a step below or whatever that might be, or if it's a combination of, okay, we're going to get you three budget options so you have your distance, your intermediate, and your reading, and it still costs less than the progressive, whatever that combination might be. It's just being open to the whatever you have access to and using that to your benefit, and just making sure that you're offering the patient the best experience and being open to new ideas. And so that's for me, that was the biggest thing. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm not sure I'm going to like it. But 3 weeks in, I love it. And I've been helping so many people. They've been coming back with feedback that has been fantastic. And I've never sold so many multiple pairs ever. And I've sold a lot, and it's just been a complete different experience being able to offer people options that are within their budget. Whether it's using an old frame, whether it's getting them new frames, offering them promotions, having promotions to offer. It's been amazing. And so um I know people have that stigma against it. Now, do I miss like some of my, like independent eyewear, like some of those? Of course, because there's so many cool eyewear, like, like art out there that I loved. And, do I miss being a part of like buying? Like, yeah, of course, but do I enjoy trying to use what I have and figuring out ways that I can make the patient have like a fantastic experience? It's been great. Like it's just like a change of mind. It's a change of the way of thinking. Um,
Well, I mean,
and
I
yeah,
love it. The thing that I love is that you really, and I wanted this to get out there, is that we're all here to help patients, and it's
yeah,
essentially the same. It's just different products and services, but it's the same patient base. All opticians are great. All optometrists are great. As long as we work together, we can really help elevate, the patient care experience, that journey nonstop. Now, what I want to spend a little time on before we go here is the power of social media, because you have done an incredible job with really branding yourself. And I feel like when you're able to hone in on that, that brings more patients in, and patients already have the expectations of what they're going to get when they come in. I'll give you a prime example, at least from my case. Whenever patients come in to see me, they know that they're going to get the best innovation, the best technology, and they know they're going to spend some money, right? Because I like nice eyewear, I like smart eyewear, and I like premium contact lenses because I want them to elevate everything they do at any time they come into the practice. So the expectations of when they see me online are already set because they know the type of flavor that I bring into that exam room. So I'm curious to know, how have you leveraged social media to elevate that patient experience as well?
so for me, interestingly enough, like the places that I've worked, I actually haven't gotten many patients from social media for me personally. It's mostly that I choose to live my life authentically. And that, because of what I share on social media, is actually me. Like it actually is the same person, where I know for some it could be different. They could be a completely different person. But because I try to live authentically myself, I try to, so my fun outfits and glasses and hair and everything, that's true me. And when people see that and they see my joy and they're like, "Oh, I just love how you're dressed," and I'm like, "Well, I just try to live joyfully. I try to live colorfully." And I share that same message on social media, that it translates to people trusting me and knowing that I have the knowledge to help them, and that they know I know what I'm doing. And so that even though like all these patients, they're all brand new to me, they all know, oh no, that one, she knows. And so then that's why I've been having these sales, because I'm just offering them what I wish I was always offered back before I got an optical. So that's how I treat everyone, is with, kindness, with joy. And if they choose, if they can't, that's okay. You could go anywhere, that's okay. But I try to just live very authentically and joyously and colorfully. And what's been big for me is my reach on social media is through people all around the world, is that I'm sharing just my life, whether it's my outfits or my day or what's going on personally, And also, I share my optical knowledge every so often. I'll share whatever the newest lens is out. I'll share my love for transitions and photochromic lenses. I'll share, just my random adventures with friends at music festivals and everything. And what that has done is I've actually gotten people to do things all around the world. Um, from my videos. So that's been the biggest thing. They might not buy from me personally, but they will go somewhere else and they'll say, "Look at my new glasses." And they'll
Yeah,
have transitions and they'll have the new like Gen S technology. And they'll say, "I got Sapphire because you told me that they came in other colors. And when I went there last year, I didn't even know they came in other colors." And I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
wow." And then they share their photos and their videos. They'll share videos of their new glasses. And that's been the biggest thing for me is just like sharing my optical knowledge and how important I feel that our eye health is, and how a lot of times people don't, because sometimes eye exams could be a little quick sometimes,
mhm,
that they don't understand the importance of some of those options. And so that's been the biggest like thing for me through social media is that I've inspired so many people to understand the importance of sunglasses, photochromic lenses, progressives, like why they should get it. Um, and that's been the biggest thing for me
I
is
love it.
it's been so cool. Like all my
Yeah.
friends, like you think that no one's listening because it's like
Oh, people
on social
listen just
media,
because they don't like it, or
right?
just because all that no comments.
Right.
I always say, what's the best way to put it? People are watching. Just put it that way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I love that you mentioned the word authentic because I think once you are your authentic self, it sells itself.
Yeah.
I have a similar perspective of what you have. I always tell people I get patients because of my social media, not because I'm an optometrist first. It's because they see my different loves. They know that I love to travel. So I always have pictures of me traveling the world in various places. They know that I love my family. I show tons of pictures of my son, my daughter, my beautiful wife, my mother, my sister, all my family, right? And they know that I'm a fat boy. I like to eat. No doubt about that, right? And it just so happens that I'm also an optometrist. And as a result of that, when patients see that, when they come into my exam lane, I've already built that trust with them because I was authentic of who I am and they found something in me that they have in common. So when they sit in that exam lane, again, expectations are already set. They already know what they need because they see me wearing this pair of glasses or they're interested in a smart pair of glasses that I have. And that starts to build the conversation. So for all my colleagues out there, be like Sophia, be that seed planter. Although they're not coming into your practice, you're planting seeds for them to go somewhere and get the care and the products and services that they need. And at the end of the day, we are all about, making sure that patients have everything that they need to be successful with their eyes, whether it's in my practice, your practice, or whatever it may be. But social media is a powerful tool that is out there, and it's up to you to leverage it. Now, before we end, I have to at least know what you're wearing. And I would love to learn a little bit more about maybe your top 2 or 3 pairs of eyeglasses, because every time I see you, you got it going on, my friend. So let's kind of start with what you're wearing right now and give me a little story behind why you chose that frame. And if you'd like, maybe touch on the lens technology as well, because I am a big fan of everything that you put on.
Thank you. Yeah, so this frame I was gifted when I went to a Vision Expo, and it was a brand new frame line, and it was just so cool. I was just like trying on frames, and then they decided to give me this frame,
Yeah.
and then I had the opportunity. This is actually the frame I put my first Transitions Gen S. So when it first came out, and I put the Ruby Gen S in it. So this is also my first progressive is in this
Okay.
frame.
I'm not there
Yeah.
yet,
So
but I think I'm gonna be there by the end of the year. I'm just saying.
right. Yeah. So that
But
was
matter of
like,
fact, sorry to cut you off, but when you were
yeah.
talking earlier and you were mentioning that, Eisen and that 40-year-old and progressive and 42-year-old, I'm like, is she talking to me? Because I'm 42, I'm that Eisen. try to get to that progressive, but I haven't made the jump yet. I was like, get out of my head, Sophia.
No, so it's so funny because like I tried the eyes in and I was like, I don't really notice anything. And so then I just was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do a progressive. And now that I've done it, I'm like, okay, I don't for some people the eyes in is great, any
It works
anti-fatigue
wonders for
lens.
me, and my
But
patients love it.
for some, I just am like, just do the progressive, just go
Yeah,
for it. It really wasn't so bad. Like, you have that fear, like, oh, and for me, it was like seamless. It was like, oh, this is great. I could just see clear. I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, so these frames, I can't even remember the brand. Oh, these are Neighbors by Studio Optics Erkers. And so it was one of their brand new collections. They had just came out. It was last year. And so I got to, put in all the new technology, first progressive, first Gen S, Ruby. And so these ones are my favorite pair. They're fun, round, red, and everyone always comments on them like, oh, I can never wear that, or oh, I love those, or so it's just like a fun, it's a different round shape, so that's why I
Yeah,
like them. And I have a high prescription, so I try to like tell people that like you don't have to get like little teeny tiny glasses. Like you can go for something bigger. And can you see my lens? Yeah. But have I ever had anyone comment about my lens thickness? No. So as long as your eye is as centered as it can be, you could try fun things. And so that's why I like to wear these glasses like in metal because people think that they can't, and I'm like, no, you can. I mean, we have to, there might be limits, but like you can push the boundary as far as you can.
yeah.
But you could try something different. But yeah, so these are Neighbors. They're a
Okay.
fun round. And then some of my other favorites, so these are Roger, and again these
Ooh, I
are
love
a
those.
really cool metal. And
Yeah.
again, this one actually has a wire holding the
Okay.
lens in, and my lenses are thick again. But another progressive, I tried a different brand of progressives because now I'm like trying to see if they matter, if all the brands are the same or different, or the technologies, because I'm big on, if I'm going to offer something to a patient, I need to try it personally. So this
Yep.
is like another one. Also with transitions, because I actually have sun damage in my
Yeah.
eyes. So I have transitions in almost every pair of glasses. So I always have that protection. So yeah, so these are Roger. They're really cool. They have like a cool design. Everyone comments on them. Again, there are larger, and you can see that, I have my prescription, but they're really fun. And then the last one is I always like to get a fun pair of plastic frames,
Ooh, I
but with
love
like
those.
cool patterns. And so I always tell like other opticians that try to find frames in your office, like get the funkiest one, because then if a patient likes it but it comes in another more neutral color, they will know, but it will at least catch their eye, and they will realize that like a fun frame like this or even my other frames are actual neutrals, um even though they're wild, because a lot of people are just stuck on, I need black, I need tortoise, I need, and then that's it. And I'm like, no, you can have something fun that is still neutral. But these ones are a little bit, out there, but they're so fun, and I get so many compliments on them. And it's just fun when you could have fun with your wardrobe at work, and that's just another part of the job, is just having fun.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, this has been fantastic. I've learned so much from you. I just love how you broke down the patient journey from the front desk to all the way being in the optical area. I love the concept of less is more. I love that we all need to have that teamwork because that truly makes the dream work.
Yep.
And I love that you broke down those three tips of what optometrists or doctors should never say, from, there's no change in the prescription to being too specific, and, just all the great content that you created to make our industry better. Because I know there's doctors and opticians that listen to us today, and they're going to go back to their practice tomorrow, and they're going to implement some of these things that you touched on. Now, before we leave, I always like to ask my guests, when it's your turn or your time to retire your phoropter, hang it up, when you're done with eye care, what do you want to be known for? What is the legacy that you're aiming to create, my friend?
I mean, it's really just enjoying life, living life to the fullest, getting all the experiences, and just having fun. That's what I want to be known for. I want to be known as the optician that loved learning, that loved patient care, that just enjoyed it so much that I hope, that this profession just keeps going, and that there's always a need for that in-person care and that in-person, loving touch. And so I just want everyone to realize that living authentically, living colorfully, living just their true self and just sharing that with others, it matters, and it can really make others happy, and just have them, even like my little videos that I post, like people say that it just makes them smile,
Yeah.
and that's what I want, so when it's my time to retire and I'm, not in the optical industry, that's my legacy, is that, just make people smile, just try to, be happy, focus on, what we can do, help with whatever options that you have to offer, and just try to give everyone the same care. It doesn't matter how they look. It doesn't matter if they're on Medicaid or whatever the situation is, give everyone the same care. If you're volunteering and they're not spending a cent versus if they're spending thousands,
Yes.
everyone should have that same experience. And that's what I try to give. And so that's what I hope my legacy is that, and I hope that other people see it. And
Hey,
those
we all
hard
see it.
days.
We all
Yeah.
see it. It's vibrant. You're living it. You're walking in your purpose. And I'm just grateful that you chose this profession because it's folks like you, Sophia, that plant those seeds in our office, but outside of our offices that get patients in and understand products and services better and understand the importance of what vision care is all about, right? So I just want to say thank you on behalf of the eye care industry. And I know I want to say thank you on behalf of all the opticians because I know they're listening to this and saying she's doing the damn thing, right?
Yeah.
For all my colleagues out there that are listening and they want to dive into your page and learn more about you, what's the best way for them to follow you on social media or connect with you outside of this podcast?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I'm Foxy Sofa on Instagram, so you can find me there. And I'm also on LinkedIn. So follow me on LinkedIn. I'm Sophia Pray. That's usually the two places that I post. I'm also on Facebook, but I post a lot of the same things, so it's all the same. So you could
Right,
follow me on
right.
anywhere: Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. This has been great. I am a student, or I was a student today, and I greatly appreciate all the knowledge you bestowed upon me. But keep living your purpose and keep walking in your dreams. And I just thank you again. And for all my colleagues out there, stay healthy, stay positive, and stay blessed. And until next time, peace. Hey, family, if you enjoyed this full podcast, don't miss out on more engaging content. Check out the next episode right here. And for the latest updates, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Catch us in the next episode. Peace.